who began at 6 years old performing and learning piano and graduated from the Berklee School of Music over in Boston. So, very highly regarded school of music. And so now, all you cats, you has jazz.
Thank you so much. It's really, this is a gathering that I've looked forward to playing for. Um, it's part of the reason why I've loved making my career in this community is I just like playing for an audience that I know and that are my friends. Um, so I, it's really a joy to be at Torch Club tonight. Thank you. Now, the title of my talk was taken from a Cole Porter song, "Now You Has Jazz," um, and he wrote it. He wrote it in 1956, and it was for a film, and a wonderful movie. It starred Bing Crosby, Louis Armstrong, and the Louis Armstrong Quartet, Frank Sinatra, and Grace Kelly. I mean, what a team! So I'm sure Cole must have really loved putting this music together for this high society. It's about the Newport Jazz Festival, and you can get it on Netflix. I think you'd enjoy watching it. Um, Jazz is a big topic, and we're going to carve out just a small portion of it, and that is the portion of jazz that has to do with the American songbook. You've been hearing that phrase a lot, probably. The American songbook is a collection of the most influential and appreciated American popular songs from the early 20th century, songs that have stood the test of time. Often they're referred to as standards or American standards, published during the golden age of this genre. They're tunes from the 20s to about the 60s. They were created for Broadway, musical theater, Hollywood films, and they're still very much a part of our musical appreciation. Uh, Composers like Irving Berlin, for example, born in 1898, he lived 101 years, died in 1989, and he wrote some great tunes, as well as George Gershwin, Cole Porter, who I mentioned, Jerome Kern, Harold Arlen, Johnny Mercer, Hoagie Carmichael, Rogers and Hammerstein, and so many other great composers. I've just loved immersing myself in their work, and I didn't expect it, but it's a wonderful second or third career of mine to be playing that music. Uh, what characterizes jazz, though, and all forms of jazz, are distinctive rhythms, first of all, instead of traditional jazz rhythms have a little bit of an offbeat feel instead of eighth notes that might go. Jazzed up would be, or the other thing is harmonies. Most pop songs, folk songs, and stuff like that have triads, just three note chords. But jazz loves to use, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, extended chords that might have, instead of 1 3 5, they might have 1 3 5 7 9 11 and 13. Triad, 7. Oh, oh, ooh, Oh, yeah. So there's rhythmic variety, there's harmonic extension, I like to call it. And finally, most jazz is characterized by improvisation. Now, for me, coming out of a strictly classical or primarily classical background where you rehearse, you practice to do things exactly the same, precisely as you want them every time. And so you might have, with the symphony, 4 or 5 rehearsals and a performance to get things exactly right. Jazz is not that exact. In fact, improvisation grew out of the idea that there's a spirit of improvisation in nearly all forms of jazz, even modern jazz, way beyond what you're going to be hearing tonight. All members of a jazz group uh, are are likely to improvise. Even the singers, think of Ella Fitzgerald's scat singing and stuff like that. Um, now, the main instruments playing jazz are usually a lead vocals, drums, bass, keyboard, of course, guitar, trumpet, and trombone. Well, it happens there have been some great, and there are some great jazz violinists. And oh, it seems to me that uh, string sections are making a big comeback, even in pop music. So it's wonderful to do that. I consider myself a vocalist. Uh, I don't have the words, but I do have the range of vocalists. And so Terry happens to be a terrific collaborator for singers. And so that's the niche that I fill with Terry, and I'm so happy to do it. So I've passed around a little piece of paper with a standard song form. And my goal tonight is for you to get an idea of how the jazz songs, how these songs are constructed, how they're made, and what the vocabulary is. And so most tunes start with a little introduction, and then there's the first theme, the melody, okay? And so that might last for 8 bars. And then if there's a second verse, they might repeat that. So it's AA. And then there's a bridge that I wrote on this form that it's 4 bars, but it's also often 8 measures, 8 measures. And then back to A, the first melody again. So that's a basic form for songs to begin. Then we go into solos, and anything can happen, but usually a little glance at the other players, the other performers, and you know who's going to take the solo. And the solo follows the song. Pretty much the same harmonies that were introduced in the original verse. And it goes through maybe 32 measures of AA, the melody again, the bridge, the second part, and I'll raise my hand for the bridge, and then back to the verse again. And then there's an ending. Now, the ending know exactly how you're going to end it the way he wrote it. You better, or Mr. Mozart will be banging on your door. So that's enough talk about it. Uh, let's uh, let's all plan to raise our hand when we get to the bridge. But first of all, I'm going to ask Terry if he. We're going to start with. Let's start with, and we. This is unrehearsed. Let's start with Honeysuckle Rose in B flat. Now, the introduction is important. It sets the mood, it gives the tempo, and it tells you what key you're in. It's very important that we all start in the same key. So, what would your intro be for Honeysuckle Rose? I know that.
Quite often. Oh, I just wanted to say too, one of the
Can you hear?
of jazz music is the swing feel. If you in classical music and when you're practicing scales and all that good stuff, usually it's straight ahead. Like dotted eighth and the 16th fret straight. So and quite often, I know when I work with symphonies, when I bring my jazz trio in, sometimes we have to tell the musicians, like in the orchestra, oh, well, we ask them to please swing rather than just reading the notes. It gives it a
Then
better.
comes A, the melody, or jazz players call it the head. Okay, turn to A after that. So when we get to the bridge, oh, let me find it.
Quite often, we do what a quarterback call audible. They'll change a play right at the last. They see something on a French line that they don't like, they'll change the play. So we do that quite often in jazz. For example, if we're getting ready for a song, say Honeysuckle Rose, and most often there's not a rehearsal between. Well, if you want to tell somebody the key that you want, let's talk. Say the drummer is there, the ear, that's G flat, key of B flat, G sharp. So we give audibles, and when somebody's coming back in, say after my solo, if Barry's coming back in to play his solo, he would just say bridge. You automatically go, or as he said, go like this. Go with Barry's bridge. So we do a lot of audibles, almost like ear engagement.
So in this song, Honeysuckle Rose, I'm going to play the end of A into the bridge. And when I get to the bridge, if you notice it, put your hand up. It's quite a difference in feel to the A section. And then after that bridge, there's the return to the melody, A, the head. And then someone will take a solo. You want to take a solo? Okay. And then I might take a solo, or he might take a solo. It's all done with little glances, usually, with a yes or a no or a yes. And then when the solos are through, and the solos do stick to the harmonies and the countings, the counts, the measure counts of the original song, and then we go back and do the song again. A, bridge, A, and then comes the ending, and that's the mystery. It's so much fun, and I always like to listen or wonder how are we gonna get out of this. So why don't we just play through it? And when we get to the bridge, just put your hand up, just so I'll know we're all on the same page. Okay. Here's Barry and Terry's Honeysuckle Rose. So glad we ended together on that. Nice solo, Terry. And that's not peculiar just to jazz. In fact, repetition in Mozart really means conclusion. We're getting to the end. And it's usually a phrase that's repeated or a 4-bar phrase or something like that that's repeated several times. And that's the signal that we're coming to the end. Okay. Let's do another tune. This is called Dream a Little Dream of Me. It's the 1931 Fabian Andre and Wilbur Schwant composition, but it was made famous in 1968 by Mama Cass and the Mamas and the Papas. The thing that I love about this tune is that the bridge, the B section, Now you notice we didn't play after the solos. We didn't play the complete song. He played the head, and then I jumped in at the bridge, and that's another thing. Did anybody hear him say "bridge" to me? It should be inaudible, right? Yeah, but, we do sort of make it inaudible between us, and that can happen. So there's a lot of spontaneity in jazz. Um, uh, let's do another Cole Porter. Let's do your arrangement of Cole Porter's "It's Da Lovely." This is a 1935 composition by Cole Porter from Red Hot and Blue. It was a musical that starred Ethel Merman. And we're going to show you another jazz feature that is kind of fun to do, and that is the last time through, we're going to trade, after the solos, we're going to trade, shall we trade fours? Let's trade eights. Okay, we're going to do 4 bars from one of us, and then, or 8 bars from one of us and 8 bars from the other of us. Still sticking to the harmonies, still sticking everything the same, except we're trading off soloing above it. So we'll see what happens. We'll just give it a whirl. And that's called trading fours usually, but we'll do eights. By the way, this is an arrangement by Terry, and it has a special introduction that he wrote out, and it relates to the closing. I think you'll like it. Jazz composers and pop composers love to write Latin feeling songs. Uh, Here's a song that we like to do, Begin the Begin, another Cole Porter from, this was from the musical Jubilee. Um, this has an added kind of interlude at the end. He's fooling around uh, with the uh, uh, with the shape of the song, and he actually ends repeating the interlude and ending on that rather than going back to the A theme or to the B theme. This is Begin the Begin. There's a kind of minor feel to the beginning. The interlude is higher. And there is no such dance as the begin. Cole Porter claimed that there was a style of getting the bass and the drummer going at a certain tempo, and then the people in the club would get up onto the dance floor. And apparently, this band leader would get everybody going. He'd see that they were ready to start dancing, and he would say, "Okay, let's begin." And that's when the title, according to Cole Porter, came from. So here is Cole Porter's Begin the Begin. Everyone loves Louis, Satchmo Armstrong, and one of his most popular pieces, "What a Wonderful World." And he said, "It ain't the world that's so bad, but it's what we're doing to it." And all I'm saying is, see, what a wonderful world it would be if only we'd give it a chance. Wise words from Louis. This is has an intro. It's an AABA form. Piano plays the head, the violin plays the bridge, and then see what happens after that. Yeah. Or as jazz musicians quite often say, don't worry about it. You'll hear it. Which works sometimes. Instead of letting him play the whole thing, I'm coming in at the bridge. You do that all the time. I'm so glad. Yeah. Well, it's just been a pleasure to play for you tonight, and especially in this beautiful park club. Those benefactors that made it possible to renovate this place and make it such a great place for us and so many others to meet, people like Larry Bell and others who made it work. This old building is now serving us so well. Great staff, and we appreciate you guys so much for what you do here. So I thought we'd end with putting on the Ritz, because this is a pretty ritzy place now. So glad. Um, and you know, he does a funny thing in this. This is our original American Songbook composer Irving Berlin putting on the Ritz, and I think he had another verse in mind, so he adds that funny interlude, and it goes like this, and it's kind of unexpected. And he just sticks it in, you know. Goes from a minor. Yeah. Or that I think American in Paris does that too. Starts in the minor and then ends up in the major. But that's not Cole Porter. I don't know who wrote that. Yeah. Um, uh, in this tune, Terry, I've sometimes heard you play an extended solo in this. So would you bless us with that tonight too? We could be here all night. Okay, here's Putting on the Ritz. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to play for you. Thank
Let's hear it
you.
again for Barry and Terry. Do you guys like to answer any questions that the group may have?
Susan has a question.
I want to know from Terry, do you play those solos the same way every time you do it, or do you change it up? So you're making it up as you go along.
Back of my mind from previous experience. Other things that quite often will take a risk. And, things are happening quite quickly in your mind, especially at fast tempos. So sometimes we'll take a chance, and if you hear something in your head, I question myself, can I do it? So sometimes I just try it. If it works, fine. We try to cover it up.
Terry, um, that last number is a seriously syncopated number. There aren't many quite like that. I mean, that's what the whole piece is syncopation, right? Yes. Yeah. Well, another question. Since there is no bass this evening, um,
I'd like to
going,
answer that question. There is a bass.
well, I understand, but my question is, if there were a bass, would you be playing so much left hand if there were a bass here? Yes. Yes.
Especially if you're playing a song that I do quite often, and he doesn't know, he or she does not know the song. If they're struggling a little bit, sometimes I'll
Yeah.
means I have two hands and play the chords.
Right.
Ragtime music and ragtime music is playing the bass, the chords, and the melody. Three different things all at once. Same thing I'm doing when I pick the left and bass.
Right. Well, the piano essentially becomes a percussion instrument, doesn't it? The piano, I mean.
It is.
Yes. Right. Thank you.
This is just an observation. I first listened to recorded music on 78 RPMs when I was a lad in the 40s. And I still can remember mom and dad dancing to some of these pieces. It brings a sentimental tear to me eye.
Us too. This is timeless music. It's lasted for decades, some 100 years, and I think it's going to be around forever. Just great songs. After all, it has melody, harmony, rhythm, style, lyrics, much more than a lot of the music that's being written and performed today. So I think it's with us forever. And partly owing to the great performers. When you think about Tony Bennett, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, just giants who Dinah Washington, uh, they were just so terrific. I could listen to those guys all day, and sometimes I do.
Question. David, you want to say something? Yeah, Barry, I have a comment. I enjoyed very much. It was beautiful. But it's amazing that what you said about ending the music, you go back to the initial parts, repeat few of them. How beautifully nature does the same thing. The chromosome, the DNA, which is written in 4 letters, and always with a repeat of A and T, which is adenine and thymine. 100 to 150 times, these are repeated. And the reason nature does this is to prevent the unraveling of this chromosome. When it divides, this piece doesn't come unglued. So this is a lesson from nature. If you look deep, you can see everywhere what you said about how to end the music.
And we always hope not to come unglued. Well, thank you,
Yeah, thanks
everybody.
again,
It was a
Terry and
real
Terry.
pleasure to make music for you. Thank you, Terry.